blacktechlab.net. And I want to talk about Lavar Ball. This is one of my favorite subjects these days. I'm going to talk about Lavar Ball as well as another company that mirrors the same business model as him, called Asodoro. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but information about it will be in the comments section. So first, let me just start off with Lavar Ball. We know that a few weeks ago, a Nike executive had some things to say about Lavar Ball, and he responded. And I want to just examine what Lavar said to this Nike executive and what he's really saying to the Black community with some of his actions. So let's hit it. Again, this is, I'm going to read from a tweet. Lavar Big Baller on Twitter, because he has Big Ball. He's the CEO of Big Baller Brand. That's his company. So Nike executive George Reveling's recent remarks about me being the worst thing to happen to basketball in 100 years is a direct reflection of how Nike views athletes and their families when they can't have their way to exploit them. Nike, do your history of where we were 100 years ago. Lavar Ball, CEO of Big Baller Brand. So he has some choice words for this executive who said that Lavar Ball, the father of Lonzo Ball, is the worst thing to ever happen to basketball. And I think that his response was right on time, because like he said, this is a reflection of how they view athletes and families. Because if you think about where we were 100 years ago and where we are now, for him to say this is the worst thing that has happened, maybe from his perspective it is, but from the perspective of the Black community, if you really take a look at what's happening, this might be the best thing that's ever happened to sports in 100 years. And, you know, I know a lot of people disagree with his business strategy and, you know, have a lot to say about him, but I really love it because his method of doing business speaks a strong message to the Black community about entrepreneurship. You know, with the understanding of, you know, how to leverage technology, the technology we have right at our fingertips today, we have a golden opportunity to really leapfrog the middlemen like Nike and other industry titans in the music industry, in the retail business, the fashion business, and so on and so forth, to bootstrap our own businesses. I mean, and you know, again, it's the technology that's enabling us to do this today like never before. And you can get more information, free information about building tech careers and tech businesses at blacktechguide.net. But I want to give you a great example about how another Black business kind of took hold of the same model, and so many that have, and built a business online similar to what he did. So, you know, I just want to say though, before I get into that, you know, I recognize that there's a narrative out there that's telling Black people, and it's been telling Black people, that they should relinquish the idea that they can do anything and that we can be economically strong because we've been beat down so far. People say that without the government, who we know has been committed to our demise, that we just can't make anything happen regarding having power and economic strength in our communities. And, you know, I recognize definitely that there's been a concerted effort to defeat Black people on every front, you know, but I say that we are ingenious enough to overcome them, whether or not our enemies agree or, you know, disagree with what we're doing. So as long as we agree, you know, and before I get to the example, I just have to say, if you really think about the magnificent empires that were built by Black people, and just imagine the fact that a small minority of ignorant, weak, and homely people were able to destroy that. You know, that gives you the reality check that is possible for people who are actually the majority on the planet to, although we might appear disadvantaged to a lot of them, a lot of people, we can overcome a powerful foe. So Let me speak about this Black company out of Phoenix, Arizona. They recently interviewed with Forbes magazine. This is a startup called, it's ASODARA, Asodero. And they make African headpieces and different African garments. So basically they, with a small investment in 9 months, they were able to make $50,000 in sales. And this young lady and her siblings came together and decided to build this company. Now, mind you that she started a company before. She was a nurse, and she put in like $60,000 into this company, and it failed. So, you know, I understand there is a financial cost to pay. This young lady had a high income job. You know, some people consider that a probably middle income job. That's why I do talk to people about starting a tech career so they can have a high income situation where they can fund their business. But anyway, what happened with her is she was discouraged. She went back to school, but then she decided to get back into building this business. So her and her family members, they were having a conversation. And that's why I love how Dr. Boyce says it's good for Black families to get together and have these business meetings, have these personal think tanks to figure out ways to overcome this scenario and ways to build economic strength. So her and her family members were just talking, and they said that they wanted to start this business. She said she went and got some fabric from a local African shop in Arizona. She found she did that on a Sunday. And then she found a manufacturer on a Wednesday. She had samples by Friday. She used her girlfriends to do a photo shoot on Saturday, and she put up the store on Sunday. Okay, so in 1 week, she got her store online, and she got 2 sales that day. So that's why, you know, I laugh when people say about Lavar Ball, how dare he have his own website, Big Baller Brands, and he's selling not only $500 shoes, but he's selling slides, he's selling shorts, he's selling shirts, you know, and all of those things. And somebody said to me, well, you know, Lavar Ball, he's doing bad business because he doesn't have the infrastructure Nike has, and he can't do this and he can't do that. He needs to build his infrastructure. And I'm like, what do you mean infrastructure? Today, what is infrastructure for a business? I mean, that's a website, some kind of financial institution that can process sales for you, like PayPal or Stripe. And, you know, there's a million other ways to do business when you get involved in technology. And I talk a lot about that at blacktechlab.net, and that's tech with a K, blacktechlab.net. So she said she opened the store on Sunday, and she got 2 sales that day. She started an Instagram page, and she said the sales had gone up. And so even after she was discouraged from failing in her first built business, after she put $60,000 into it, she said this time she only took out $500 from her bank account. She didn't have a business plan or anything. And she did the opposite of her first venture. And I'm not advocating that you don't think out your plan, but I'm just saying that with technology today, we have such an opportunity to bootstrap our own businesses. What I mean by bootstrap is you don't need a venture capitalist. You don't need to go to a rich celebrity to invest in your business many times. You can start your base business and start it generating money with a little capital. And then you will have something that someone, you know, if you want to get additional funding from someone, you have something that they can look at. You have a track record. So she said, for the first business, she wrote a business plan. She hired a model and a photographer. She said the second time, she just got her friends. She just got her own camera, and she just bootstrapped her business. And in the first 9 months, she made $50,000. And so, you know, I say to everybody who looks at the Lavar Ball situation and gets inspired, you know, go for it. Get out there. We can start our own businesses. It doesn't cost as much as it used to cost. And whatever it costs, we can get it together and we can do it and we can build. So I hope that that gives you a lot of insight and incentive. Remember, you can get free information on building a high income tech career and even building tech businesses at blacktechguide.net, or you can go to my site at blacktechlab.net, and that's tech, TEK, blacktechlab.net. Thank you so much.